only 4 times has a team had a 27-0 lead in NFL history, regular season or postseason. 4 times have we seen a team rally from that sort of deficit. So that was an absolute gut punch of a way to end the season. As for this year, win total at BetMGM for the Chargers over -130, under is +110 to win the AFC West. They are the second favorite, +300 behind the Chiefs at -200 to win the AFC, 14-1 to win the Super Bowl, 25-1 to make the playoffs. Almost a coin flip. Yes is -115, no is -105, but 96% of the money at BetMGM is on yes. BetQL says the Chargers will finish 9-8 with a 51% chance to make the playoffs. So what is your take on the Chargers after that? I was going to say dismal. That's not a strong enough word. That absolute just ass kicker of a way to end the season last year.
Yeah, Charger's gonna Charger, right? Isn't that the normal phrase in the lexicon these days? Is because this is not a one-time thing. It feels like the Chargers are supremely talented. They've got all the talent on paper. They've got a quarterback that people have compared to Aaron Rodgers when he was younger. And Justin Herbert, if you watch him play, you're like, okay, this guy is somebody who can absolutely compete with all of the stud quarterbacks in the AFC and take this team to a Super Bowl. But I don't know if it's bad luck. I don't know if it's bad coaching. I don't know if it's a combination of everything, because that's usually the case when something bad happens to a sports team. But this is almost like if you were dating somebody and they had one huge red flag and it was something that you really couldn't get around, because how can you trust a team that cannot hold on to leads and still has the same head coach? Like, can you trust this team? I feel like I have trusted the Chargers before, and I have placed actual money on Justin Herbert to win MVP before, and I will say this is not his fault, some of these blown leads, but still, it feels like my heart can only take so much before I'm like, okay, girl, it's time to move on. That red flag is red flag in here. No more betting on the Chargers for me. Do you think that I should give the Chargers one more chance to, prove me wrong?
Well, here's what I like about the Chargers. And here I have basically a two-pronged take. What does that even mean? Here's the thing. They did hire...
Get to the PowerPoint.
Get to the PowerPoint, Jenkins. Now, let's start here with the first prong of my presentation, which is Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator from the Cowboys. He is the new OC, and I think this is a guy... We saw this last year with the Cowboys, where Kellen Moore is not afraid to put up points and put them up quickly, which is so bizarre to me that Mike McCarthy wants to slow things down and run the football. Oh, we don't want to be the number one offense. We want to be the number one team. Okay, guy. Anyway, I think Kellen Moore is a great offensive mind. I think he will get the best out of this offense.
1,800 yards last season, and guess what? He gets Kirk Cousins in a contract year. I believe he is due for some big numbers yet again. Also, no Dalvin Cook. I know he's not a receiver, but those are some targets in the offense. Adam Thielen is gone as well, so it's going to be Justin Jefferson. He's going to be getting a lot of the target share, and we know when it comes to talent, he is one of the tops in the league. Even though you look at these other guys, obviously they're supremely talented as well. You look at Jamar Chase. He has a great quarterback thrown to him as well in Joe Burrow. But I still think it's going to be Justin Jefferson. I'll take the favorite.
I will go with – I wanted to take Tyreek Hill for a second just because of him talking – because he was a monster last year, and he essentially admitted a few weeks ago, like, I didn't even know the playbook. I would just – like, how good do you have to be in the NFL where you just run to a spot and get open and Tua finds you and you take it to the house? That's how good he is, and now he knows the playbook. But, of course, the risk there is that Tua could get injured, injury-prone with concussions, so maybe he doesn't finish the season, which would affect Tyreek Hill. I'm going to go with Jamar Chase at 7-1. Joe Burrow, despite that calf injury, is still the favorite to win MVP, so I think he's going to start week 1 or be close to it. And clearly he is the number one guy for that Bengals offense. I think Joey Burrow still hasn't reached how good he can be, so I'm going to go Jamar Chase at 7-1.
In the meantime, it's just I don't know. It just feels like bad things just follow the Angels around because Mike Trout is now on the IL again as well. Man, it makes me really sad.
Yeah, it's awful whether you're an Angels fan or not, because if you are a baseball fan at all, I don't know a single fan I've ever talked to ever who didn't love Shohei Ohtani. He has even with a bit of a language barrier, has this very lovable, very likable personality. You just cannot help but get behind him and want him to do well. And now AL MVP, odds off the board at BetMGM, as you might imagine. So maybe the one thing I will say, if we're trying to maybe spin this into a positive, is that Shohei is built different, right? He has been from the start. That's what makes him a superstar. So if there is any player who can perhaps recover from a second Tommy John surgery, and we don't know the extent of the tear, sometimes it's really bad, sometimes it's a minor tear. Regardless, he is injured. We know that. But maybe, just maybe, if we're trying to look through the positive looking glass, maybe because he is so different, he can recover in a way that most players just simply cannot.
That's what we're hoping, because he's the unicorn in so many ways. Maybe this is another one. But I think this is something that we see just with a lot of pitchers in general, especially the ones that throw really hard, because think about the all-injured team right now. You got Jacob deGrom, you got Shane McClanahan, you got Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
Like, who are the other ones? I just feel like when you throw that hard, there's something about the human body that the arm's like, hey, man, we're not supposed to be throwing that hard. It's too much torque on your elbow. So hopefully he can recover. We will see. And in the meantime, do you think he still wins MVP? I feel like there is not enough of the season left to really say, well, he didn't play for 2 weeks, because how much of the regular season's left? Like, there's a chance he still might lead the majors in home runs, and he still had a great season pitching. So I still don't think anybody in the American League can take that away from him.
It's a tricky question. I don't know the answer to that. I would think he might still win it. And I don't know if sympathy plays a part, right? Because nobody ever wants to see a guy this talented who has played so well, whether he's pitching, hitting this season, and you say, look, he's got to, right? Like there's 34 games left, though. That's a long time. That's a lot of baseball. So what's going to happen? Are voters going to say, look, he played 130 something games or 120, whatever it is, and he absolutely dominated? Is that enough of a sample size for people to say this guy is the most valuable player, and also it's a shame his season ended the way it did? Or does someone go off over the next 34 games, someone who's right up there in contention with him for the home run crown, say, and then that person edges out Shohei? I don't know.